Dinar Shift, welcome to this critical special report. If you have followed the developments surrounding the Iraqi dinar for any significant period, the information we are presenting today marks a potentially pivotal moment. For the first time in over 10 years, numerous significant factors, including government policy shifts, profound financial sector reforms, and large-scale structural development plans, are converging simultaneously. This unprecedented alignment is what has financial analysts worldwide intensely focused, as such coordination rarely occurs unless a major financial adjustment is being systematically prepared behind the scenes. The truly remarkable aspect of this situation is that several of these foundational changes are not merely future proposals, they are already actively underway right now. This is not a discussion about next year or next month. It is a breakdown of actions happening today. Our focus today is on Iraq's newly unveiled multi-year government master plan, a comprehensive strategy designed to reshape the nation's economic landscape. We will also examine the rapid yet quiet transformation occurring within the country's banking sector and analyze the early structural movements that many experts believe point toward an organized setup for a strategic currency adjustment. We encourage you to stay with us for this entire report as we unpack what is rapidly becoming the most significant economic conversation regarding Iraq in years. This confluence of internal and external factors suggests that the dinar's long-term journey may indeed be approaching a profound turning point, driven by a national commitment to stability and modernization. The most significant development capturing global attention is the fundamental change in the Iraqi government's economic approach. For many years, the world watched Iraq navigate a path characterized by crisis management and tentative recovery. However, the nation has now transitioned into an entirely different and more strategic phase, one dedicated to long-term financial stability, systematic modernization, and proactive national planning. This shift is crucial because historically, substantial currency value reforms are typically not initiated during times of economic or political instability. Instead, they require a foundation of stabilization and meticulous preparation, which is precisely the environment currently being cultivated in Iraq. This move from a reactive posture to a forward-looking strategy is visible through the formation of new oversight committees, the establishment of stricter financial regulations, the implementation of advanced banking standards, and the formal announcement of several new, large-scale economic programs. These actions collectively demonstrate that the government is no longer just responding to immediate problems, it is actively and systematically building the framework for a more resilient and prosperous future. When a government makes this definitive transition from crisis containment to strategic foresight, it often signals an underlying confidence that allows it to begin adjusting the currency framework, tightening liquidity controls, and readying its financial systems for larger coordinated movements. This confidence-driven shift is having a tangible impact, drawing renewed attention from international investors who had previously been hesitant. The systemic and comprehensive nature of the changes is creating a wave of fresh interest in the dinar that has been absent for years. This renewed global engagement adds to the internal momentum. The clear message is that Iraq is presenting itself as a nation focused on predictability and strategic growth, a necessary precursor for attracting the large-scale capital required for its ambitious development projects. The stability being established is the backbone for all subsequent financial operations the country intends to undertake. A parallel, yet equally massive development is Iraq's intense focus on banking modernization. For decades, the Iraqi currency faced a significant structural obstacle, an outdated financial infrastructure relying heavily on cash, cumbersome paper-based processes, and limited international integration. That reality is changing with a speed that many international observers underestimate. Banks across the country are investing heavily in digital system upgrades, expanding electronic payment networks, significantly improving global compliance standards, and enhancing their capacity for secure and efficient cross-border transactions. These are not minor technical tweaks, they represent a complete overhaul of the foundational financial plumbing. The significance of these foundational banking changes cannot be overstated. Any large-scale currency adjustment, such as a revaluation or redenomination, requires a financial ecosystem capable of managing the resulting complexities smoothly and securely. This demands a robust digital infrastructure, precise tracking capabilities for large capital movements, sophisticated liquidity management tools, and reliable international communication channels that meet global standards. Iraq is painstakingly putting every one of these elements into place right now, often operating quietly beneath the surface of public awareness. These systemic upgrades involve rigorous testing, the implementation of new international regulations, and deep-level coordination with global financial bodies. The deliberate timing of these banking overhauls aligns perfectly with the rollout of the nation's new multi-year master plan. This synchronization is why many seasoned analysts maintain that these upgrades are not merely random improvements but are, in fact, strategic preparations for a coordinated financial transition. The banking sector is being engineered to handle the future demands of a globally integrated and modernized Iraqi economy. One of the most compelling signs indicating that a major setup is underway is the unprecedented level of coordination across various government sectors. We are observing the Ministry of Finance, the Central Bank, foreign investment councils, and national development project leaders all moving in lockstep. Furthermore, key international partners are collaborating simultaneously on vital projects involving infrastructure, energy, and trade modernization. Historically, these diverse groups operate at different paces and rarely achieve this level of perfect synchronization. This unified approach, where all key players are harmoniously advancing a single agenda, strongly suggests an overarching, non-negotiable goal that demands unity of purpose, unwavering consistency, and highly precise timing. Whether the ultimate objective is radical economic growth, aggressive international market expansion, a substantially stronger currency, or a combination of all three, the requirement for high-level synchronized organization and long-term strategic thinking is undeniable. Currency reform fits logically and perfectly into this comprehensive picture, especially when a nation aims to modernize its economic profile and significantly increase its appeal to global investors. Getty Images. Explore. Let's now turn to Iraq's new multi-year government master plan, a central component that is profoundly shaping the dinar's long-term trajectory. This document is far more than a collection of political aspirations or a simple wish list of goals. It is a fully detailed and structured strategy that meticulously outlines development across critical areas: infrastructure expansion, energy sector advancements, comprehensive banking modernization, and the ultimate goal of currency stability. The plan incorporates major upgrades to crucial transportation networks, the construction of new electricity grids, the expansion of oil and gas production capabilities, and the deployment of advanced digital financial systems across the nation. All of these massive, capital-intensive projects are designed to achieve two fundamental outcomes: boosting investor confidence and fundamentally strengthening the nation's fiscal standing, factors which inevitably exert a positive influence on the valuation of its currency. However, the most vital characteristic of this master plan is its explicit design to support long-term economic stability. This stability is the absolutely non-negotiable bedrock upon which any country contemplating major currency adjustments must build. Iraq is intentionally positioning itself not as a volatile, fragile state, but as a strong, predictable financial player capable of sustaining significant growth. The calculated timing of this overarching master plan, launched in tandem with the concurrent deep-seated banking sector reforms, has naturally fueled global speculation. This strategic alignment suggests to observers that the dinar may be poised to experience calculated and strategic value changes as the phases of the multi-year plan successfully unfold and bear fruit. The government's actions indicate a patient, structured approach, ensuring that any currency change is supported by a stable and expanding real economy, providing a crucial buffer against external shocks. Adding to the internal infrastructure and banking transformations, Iraq is aggressively working to strengthen its international economic presence. The government is actively forging new trade and financial agreements with global partners, purposefully expanding regional alliances, and generating significant interest from major multinational companies keen to invest across its energy, construction, and emerging technology sectors. This push for foreign direct investment is a crucial mechanism because it directly increases the market demand for the local currency. When international corporations establish operations within the country, they are compelled to acquire and utilize the Iraqi dinar to cover local operating costs, wages, and transaction needs. This influx of foreign capital and resulting currency demand naturally increases market activity and provides foundational support for a stronger exchange rate. The more trusted, stable, and attractive Iraq becomes to outside investors, the greater the natural, market-driven pressure on the dinar to adjust and reflect the nation's new economic strength. Analysts consistently point out that such aggressive international expansion is seldom pursued without corresponding internal preparations for currency modernization. This pattern represents a well-established economic cycle. A nation first works to fortify its underlying economy, then actively draws in foreign investment, follows this by stabilizing its entire financial system, and finally implements currency adjustments that formally reflect the new economic reality. Iraq appears to be meticulously following this proven sequence. The collective efforts to increase non-oil revenue, improve trade balances, and diversify the economic base all contribute to a scenario where a stronger dinar becomes a financially logical and sustainable outcome, supported by broad economic expansion, not just oil receipts. One of the most frequently discussed topics among financial watchers is the observation of what are being called early signals of currency preparation. These are not official government declarations, but rather noticeable structural movements, subtle policy refinements, and quiet system updates that have historically preceded major controlled financial adjustments in other nations. For instance, specific banks have been observed updating their currency handling procedures, suggesting anticipation of new denominations or values. Concurrently, there has been a documented increase in the frequency and stringency of internal audits across financial institutions. Furthermore, new communication guidelines have been introduced, intended to ensure greater clarity and transparency in financial reporting and public messaging. On the public-facing side, the government has heavily promoted and expanded its digital payment systems nationwide. While none of these individual actions explicitly announce a revaluation, they strongly and collectively suggest that Iraq is actively preparing its financial landscape for a significant, well-managed shift. Large financial operations demand exhaustive groundwork, and the current level of activity clearly demonstrates a nation deep in the preparatory stages. An equally interesting preparation signal is the noticeable increased emphasis on public awareness and financial education. It is common practice for a government, when anticipating major financial changes that will affect daily transactions, to begin educating its populace well in advance. Iraq has significantly increased its guidance on adopting digital banking methods, provided clearer explanations of new financial systems, and shared detailed information about new currency handling procedures. This is a vital step, because any major change to the currency system requires the public to understand and be comfortable with the new processes and denominations. The risk of confusion or public unpreparedness could lead to a chaotic transition, which the Iraqi government appears deeply committed to avoiding through proactive, transparent communication. When a country prioritizes improving citizen understanding and financial transparency, complex reforms, particularly those concerning the national currency, become far more manageable and ultimately successful. This public engagement aspect highlights a commitment to a smooth transition, underscoring the serious and methodical nature of the underlying financial planning. Shifting focus to one of Iraq's most formidable economic strengths, stabilized oil production. Consistency and improvement in the oil sector are massive signals for potential financial upgrades. Ensuring a reliable and consistent revenue stream from the nation's primary resource instills confidence across global markets and among international financial bodies. Iraq's recent verifiable improvements in production efficiency, combined with new long-term export strategies, indicate that the country is strategically planning for the future rather than simply reacting to short-term market volatility. Stable, high-volume oil revenue provides a government with the necessary financial muscle to support and maintain a stronger, more valuable exchange rate. If Iraq successfully sustains this trajectory of oil production and export stability, the dinar is positioned to naturally gain more strength, purely because the nation will possess the strong fiscal backing required to support a more valuable currency. This consistent revenue stream is a core reason why many economic observers believe Iraq is not just hoping for, but actively positioning itself for a significant future currency adjustment that reflects its fundamental economic capabilities. The oil industry serves as the ultimate fiscal guarantee for the nation's financial restructuring efforts. Foreign investment incentives represent another powerful piece of this puzzle. Iraq is strategically introducing new protections, significant tax advantages, and formalized partnership opportunities specifically aimed at international investors. These powerful incentives are intentionally structured to attract large sustained flows of foreign capital into the country. When these investors and their businesses enter the market, the demand for the Iraqi dinar immediately increases as businesses are required to use the local currency for their operations. This artificial, incentivized demand acts as a robust mechanism to support a higher currency valuation. What makes these incentives particularly noteworthy is their integration into the long-term master plan, making them intentional, multi-year pillars rather than temporary measures. A country that offers such substantial investment incentives typically anticipates and expects a rise in economic value and corresponding currency strength as a direct result. This proactive economic engineering mirrors the successful patterns observed in multiple countries that have undergone similar structural financial reforms in the past. It is a clear policy choice designed to precondition the economy for a stronger currency. One of the biggest game changers currently underway is Iraq's decisive move toward digital finance. The central bank is aggressively championing broader digital adoption, the implementation of secure banking technologies, the establishment of efficient online payment systems, and the creation of transparent transaction tracking mechanisms. This comprehensive digital integration is absolutely critical because modern, global financial systems demand high levels of accuracy, speed, and accountability. Any successfully adjusted currency must be securely protected against fraud, manipulation, and volatility, and digital banking provides the necessary protective infrastructure. Iraq's swift progression toward digital integration demonstrates a commitment to operating on par with the world's most modern, advanced economies. When a nation successfully modernizes its fundamental financial systems, it establishes the necessary capacity to sustain and manage major currency transformations, which can include both revaluation and redenomination processes. This is the strong evidence that leads many analysts to conclude that Iraq is systematically building the digital foundation required for the dinar's next, more secure and sophisticated chapter. The move from a cash base to a digital economy is a preemptive measure to stabilize and control the money supply. Another increasingly significant factor is Iraq's expanding regional economic and political influence. As the nation diligently works to build stronger, more credible relationships with its immediate neighbors and broader international partners, its overall economic credibility and standing naturally rise. A country's currency value is intrinsically tied to global trust and confidence in its stability and future prospects. The more trusted and stable Iraq becomes on the world stage, the greater the justification for a formal adjustment that reflects this improved global perception of value. Growing regional cooperation in critical areas such as trade, energy exports, transportation logistics, and financial agreements all serve to deepen and institutionalize long-term stability. What we are witnessing is a country actively preparing for a major re-entry into the global financial system at an elevated, more mature level than before. This type of coordinated, high-level reintegration is historically almost always accompanied by some form of significant currency reform, formalizing its new status. Official government communication has also undergone a profound and telling transformation. Recent public announcements and policy statements have consistently focused on core themes of transparency, financial stability, economic growth, and the nation's readiness for heightened international engagement. When governments begin to repeatedly employ this type of specialized financial language, particularly language centered on modernization and resilience, it typically indicates that larger, complex economic operations are being prepared in a structured manner behind the scenes. Iraq's official communications are now demonstrably more structured, significantly more strategic, and infused with a greater sense of confidence. This notable shift signals a high level of maturity in the financial planning process, which, once again, aligns perfectly with the predictable pattern of how nations prepare for significant currency upgrades. The coordinated messaging serves to manage expectations both domestically and internationally, ensuring stability is maintained throughout the process. One element that has particularly engaged the attention of financial analysts is the consistent, steady flow of international financial discussions and high-level meetings involving Iraq. These conversations are focused on complex topics such as bilateral banking cooperation, monetary policy alignment with global standards, strategies for currency modernization, and the technical development of digital finance platforms. These are not the routine discussions of a nation simply maintaining the status quo. These discussions are characteristic of countries actively preparing for a much higher level of global financial integration and responsibility. The more extensively and deeply Iraq engages within these global financial networks, the greater the momentum and structural support the dinar gains. Global financial systems demand currencies that are both stable and trustworthy, and Iraq appears to be working methodically to meet those exact conditions. Many observers also point to the substantial strengthening of internal financial policies. New, stricter rules are being enforced regarding transparency, anti-corruption efforts, currency handling protocols, and rigorous banking supervision. This intensified financial oversight is arguably one of the clearest indications that a country is actively preparing its operating environment for the introduction of a more valuable currency. Stronger oversight is the crucial firewall that prevents misuse, discourages financial fraud, and ensures a controlled, managed level of liquidity. When a nation systematically strengthens its oversight capabilities, it is deliberately building the necessary secure foundation for sustained financial growth. Iraq is clearly building this comprehensive foundation step by step, demonstrating a commitment to lasting structural reform. Let's also consider the quiet yet highly significant buildup happening inside local banks. Reports from numerous insiders indicate that financial institutions are rigorously testing their internal systems, undertaking extensive reviews of currency handling rules, implementing improved staff training programs, and making preparations for managing significantly higher transaction volumes. These preparatory actions directly mirror the early behind-the-scenes stages observed in other countries, shortly before changes in their currency value were officially introduced. Banks are the essential frontline and must be fully prepared well in advance of any major financial change. The current level of methodical preparation suggests that Iraq intends to be ready long before any official public announcement is made, ensuring a seamless and efficient transition. This internal readiness is a powerful structural indicator for those tracking the potential for a significant financial shift. The proactive preparation minimizes the potential for operational failure during a period of high financial flux. Investors are also keenly analyzing the potential for Iraq to implement a structured or tiered exchange system. While no official government announcement has confirmed this, the concept has gained significant traction because it aligns perfectly with the type of controlled, phased rollout that governments frequently utilize when adjusting currency values on a national scale. A tiered exchange approach would grant the government the necessary flexibility to effectively manage liquidity, strategically protect the stability of the financial system, and guarantee a controlled, smooth transition period. If Iraq were to adopt such a process, the early deep-level preparation currently underway would be an absolute and critical necessity. It is also important to acknowledge the heightened global attention Iraq is now receiving. Financial analysts, international economists, and market watchers across the world are monitoring Iraq with a level of intensity far greater than in previous years. This increased focus is itself an indicator that the country is understood to be entering a profound and active transition period. International financial observers typically do not concentrate heavily on nations with stagnant financial conditions. Their attention is focused on countries that exhibit momentum, clear progress, and strong early transformation signals. Iraq is currently demonstrating all three of these characteristics, which is why the dinar is consistently re-emerging as a prominent topic in global economic discussions. However, it is equally vital to maintain a balanced perspective and acknowledge the potential risks that remain. Iraq's continued progress is dependent on sustaining political stability, maintaining the momentum of its ambitious economic reforms, and ensuring consistent execution of government policy across all sectors. Any significant delays or unforeseen political or policy shifts could inevitably slow down the overall process. Furthermore, normal market fluctuations and regional events may create temporary periods of financial uncertainty. Acknowledging these risks is a standard, essential part of any major financial dialogue. The existence of these inherent risks does not diminish or negate the substantial structural progress that is being actively achieved. Instead, it serves as a critical reminder to all observers to remain highly informed, maintain a cautious and strategic approach, and avoid impulsive or emotionally driven decisions. Despite these potential headwinds, the broader, structural impact of Iraq's comprehensive transformation remains undeniably powerful. A stronger dinar, supported by a modernized financial system, would significantly enhance Iraq's purchasing power, improve the quality of life for its citizens, elevate its global economic standing, and provide a sustainable foundation for long-term national development. This national transformation transcends a simple currency value adjustment. It is fundamentally about the comprehensive rebuilding of Iraq's financial identity and the restoration of its economic strength on the global stage. As the coming months and years unfold, observers should anticipate a continued stream of official government updates, further rollouts of banking sector reforms, increased international cooperation agreements, and more robust public education campaigns. Every one of these planned and ongoing moves suggests that Iraq is systematically preparing both its populace and its core financial systems for something significant and far-reaching. All available structural indicators point toward a process that is designed to be gradual, highly organized, and exceptionally well-structured regarding the implementation of key economic changes, particularly those aimed at achieving long-term currency stability and comprehensive modernization. The groundwork is extensive and undeniable. For those tracking the dinar's trajectory, the message is one of strategic preparedness, stay organized, rely only on official government and central bank information, and maintain a focus on the long-term structural opportunity rather than short-term fluctuations or unfounded hype. The most effective results stem from calm, deliberate, and strategic analysis. If Iraq remains committed to following this current, comprehensive path of structural reform and modernization, the next few years hold the potential for truly major transformations in its financial status. Our channel, Dinar Shift, remains committed to providing constant, detailed, and factual monitoring of every development, policy update, and verifiable structural signal. The synergistic combination of Iraq's master plan, the modernization of its banking sector, the expansion of vital infrastructure, and its growing international engagement tells a compelling story of a nation in transition. The process of financial modernization is not a future event. The groundwork is already actively starting. This marks the definitive beginning of a new and profoundly important chapter for the Iraqi dinar, and you are here, watching it unfold in real time. Thank you for tuning into today's in-depth report from Dinar Shift. If you found this structured breakdown of the facts and developments valuable, please be sure to subscribe to our channel, hit the like button to support our work, and turn on notifications so you are immediately informed of every major update concerning the Iraqi dinar and the country's evolving financial future. Stay informed, remain patient, and be ready, because Iraq's next strategic financial chapter is only just beginning.